Spirit of a Woman soundtrack. Ladies, grab your wine. Check yourself. Look back. Right. You got it. 'Cause here, this is where ladies.
Yeah, there's gonna be some changes in here.
Are first.
Hey, everyone. How are we doing today? It is your girl, JL Diamond, and I am here for a series you haven't seen in a little bit, and that is The Spirit of a Woman. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have an amazing guest today who is coming here to show us how you maneuver out in these film industry streets. All for you, baby. Come on in. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. Hope everyone is having a beautiful Tuesday. Hello, Anita. Hey, Tiana. Hey, Miss Denise. Good to see everyone. Thank you again for joining us. Hold on, let me turn. It's all for you. You know, I had to get my little Janet Jackson vibes on. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How are y'all doing? I'm glad to be with y'all. I wasn't with y'all last week for my National Poetry Month for my haiku. Yes, don't forget to like, to share. We got a good, this ain't church, but we got a good word for you today. Okay? So make sure you guys like and share and all that good stuff. I'm sorry, I didn't speak to you. That is my head and not my heart. How you doing, Miss Vanessa, aka Mama? How you doing, the hummingbirds? Good to see all of you. Thank y'all for tuning in. So, like I was saying, I missed last week for the poetry breakdown, but we're definitely going to start it off with a little bit of poetry because I feel like what we're going to be discussing today is going to have a little impact on some of my poetry as well. So before any further ado, let me do the proper intro. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? This is your girl, JL Diamond, and you are here with an episode of Spirit of a Woman. And today we have an amazing guest named Adrienne Whaley. So there's so much in store for you guys. Stay tuned. Oh, and did anybody notice my Gordon Gartrell shirt? Who remember the Cosby Show? I know y'all got to remember the Gordon Gartrell shirt from the Cosby Show. If y'all do, put that in the chat when Denise made the shirt for Theo and he was tight. Okay, so I'm going to start it off with a cute little poem real quick. And it is from my first poetry book, which is Get Out of My Head. Yes, I know some of y'all have it. And if you don't, hold on. If you don't, there it is right there. Go to my website and purchase my book, okay? Or books, should I say. So, this poem is called Some Say. Some people say I'm a tomboy. Others say I'm very girly. Some people think I'm reserved. Others say I'm boisterous. Some say I'm passive. Others say I'm aggressive. Some say I love the spotlight. Others say I'm quite humble. I can go on and on about the polar opposite perspectives people have on me. The point is, don't allow one moment in time or any action or any one side people see define who you are. Truth is, I am all these things, but it's hard to capture it all at once when we see each other with kaleidoscopic vision. Okay? And the reason I wanted to put that in, I wanted to start with that book, that poem called Some Say, is because especially as women, we are told what we can't do, how we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to move. And this guest has had those experiences as well as she's came into this industry. So I thought it was fitting to let us know we do not have to be put in society's box. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be, however you want to do it, you can achieve it if you believe it, as cheesy as it sounds. Okay? So what I'm going to do really quick before we start is I'm going to pull up just a quick video of what our guest does. Okay? So let's check it out, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm a go-getter, I'm a goal-setter. Don't question me or eventually you're gonna know better. A hyper-color shirt and a viper on a vert. Nice how I live and what I write turns to work. Full flush, all bets turn to dust in this bear grip crush. Here's the full moon hush. A cool room away, hugging my spot, son. Waiting on communicate, ducking out dot.
Yes, that is the Queens Underground Film Festival footage that you just saw. And we have the executive director of that Queens Underground Film Festival right now. So I'm going to need y'all to get into the chats. Y'all need to be sharing this. But at the same time, I need y'all to show some love. So I need them hearts and them likes to go up as we introduce the lovely, the talented, the multifaceted Miss Adrienne Whaley.
Hi,
Hello. Hi, how are you? Now, I have been struggling. Am I saying your last name correctly? Is it Wally or Whaley? Okay.
Whaley.
Whaley. Okay.
You're
Thank you
not
for.
the only one. It's okay.
Okay, good. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a lovely lady that I had the pleasure to meet about a week ago. As shout out to Cliffy Bars. I was actually at the Queens Underground Film Festival supporting him with his film,
Mhm.
and he introduced me to you and said, "This is an amazing woman. You should get to know her and speak to her." And you were so personable. You were open, and you were willing to just talk to me. You didn't know who I was. You didn't know what he was throwing you into, but you were like, "You're here, so why not talk to you?" And in that time, we had about 10 minutes to talk and we connected so well. So thank you for taking the invite and coming on my platform.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what you do?
Uh, Adrienne Whaley, born in Brooklyn, moved to Queens, was always interested in the arts. And as we discussed, I come from that art family. So it was another generation of frustrated minority artists who had to go get a regular job to take care of the bills. And one day, I just decided, I didn't decide. One day, God decided that I had had enough. And I literally woke up, went to work, put in my resignation that afternoon, and opened up an art studio, which was a crazy idea, at the time, but still. I did that. And I think that's probably about the second or third time in my life where I've just gotten up, quit my job, and opened up a business. It wasn't the first. So that's basically it.
So you said opened up an art. That was your first moment that you decided when you opened up the art studio?
No, I had the video store
So the
30
video store
years.
came first.
Yes, that
Okay,
was
so
like 30 years ago.
okay, so the people they learning you. So we took it to an entrepreneur. So I'm gonna need you to go through your entrepreneurial journey. Like, what was the first time that you decided to be on your own with your own business? What was that?
That was the 30 years ago. I had
Okay.
been in a car accident, and everybody has a lawsuit because I had broken my wrist, and I was sitting there thinking I wanted to do something very constructive and meaningful, with the settlement. So I actually gathered my family together. We sat around my mother's dining room table, and I said, "It's time for us to open up a business. What should we open up?" My ex-husband said a laundromat. He was right. He's still right. But we didn't do that. We opened up, a video store, and we were there for about 5.5 years. And that was right around the time when Hollywood and Blockbuster had
Yes, I
taken
remember
over.
Hollywood. Dad, you said Hollywood.
Yeah, I do too. And I ended up closing the store and going back to work. And after I worked for a little while, I really got tired of being the secretary because I'm sitting there going, I know exactly what they're talking about. And maybe they should do this. And I'd like to contribute to that. But as the secretary, you weren't allowed to speak, which was great because that encouraged me to go back to school. So when I came out, you got bills to pay. So I, worked for quite a number of years, but it hit me again. And you just wake up and you go, I can't do this anymore. I
You
can't
can't do what? Working
I
for the
can't
nine to
work for
five job?
people. I couldn't
Okay.
work for people anymore because I kept it wasn't just me who wanted to do something creative. I continuously ran into teachers and paraprofessionals and teachers assistants. We had the most beautiful bulletin boards that were not done by the preschoolers, of course. These bulletin boards were created by these professionals, but everyone had to have a job. So I was kind of lucky in some respects. So when I quit my job,
Lucky, or your path was being paved?
both. My path was luckily blessed, as in paved. So I was able to, take a chance and do what I wanted to do. So that's when I opened up the art studio in 2016.
So, first of all, shout out to you for getting money and knowing what to do with it. So often in our community, our first thought is not to make a plan of generational wealth. Our plan is how can we do a quick fix. So, first of all, shout out to you on that. Secondly, do you feel like the entrepreneur spirit, does it run in your family, or are you the first person to have this entrepreneur spirit? I know your father is a creative, but are you like the first person to take the baton and start doing these things?
Actually, no, it was my father's oldest brother, my
Okay.
uncle. He was a city marshal. And I didn't realize until then, being a city marshal, although you were appointed, by New York City, it was technically and legally your own business. And what happened to him? He was doing well because he was uptown Harlem. He was doing very well. And then as he got sick, he realized his business manager had pretty much stolen all of his money. Fortunately, he did have some put away, but the bulk of it, the business manager stole. And I think I was about 18 at the time. And certain things in your life happen and they stick with you forever, forever, ever. Right. So that was one of those things. I knew I wanted a business, but I always said I would never let anyone have that level of control over my money.
Hence
So
why
he,
you is that part of the reason why you went to family first?
yes, I went to family first, but I also went to business school.
Oh, okay. Yeah, run down the education, sis. Run down the
Okay.
degrees.
Associate degree in marketing, bachelor's in organizational management, an MBA. Then, when I went into education, I had to get a dual degree, master's degree in general and special education. I did not like working in the classroom after a while.
Yes,
After
I
a
get it.
while,
I used to
right?
be a
So I
teacher. I
went
get
back
it.
to school and got my school principal's certification and license. And then quit that job. I had, worked in education for 13 years. I became a supervisor. I was doing evaluation, so on and so forth. But I just, when there's a burning desire, and God puts that there, when you have that burning desire to do something, it never leaves you. So it was with me all the time. And the more people I ran into that also had talent, it just kept building up and, building up till one day that's what I did. And then I went back and got my PhD. So it was Dr. Adrienne Whaley. And
Well,
that
you should have led with that because now I need to change my title. It's Dr. Adrienne Whaley.
no, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh my goodness. Can we get some claps? And can we get some stuff? Because I did not know that you were out here doing all of that. But the reason I appreciate that is because as a creative, because you also work in art, like you do painting. You didn't really touch on that, but you paint.
But I paint
It,
on clothing. I actually design clothes
okay.
and I paint on fabric and I make soap. And now that summer is coming, I kind of like change my entire garden around and we have the water fountains and we do the this and this and that.
So the thing, and we touched on it before when I first spoke to you, as creatives, it's hard for us to have that business mind. Because you went to business school, you were already in the mix of it. So I think you definitely have a leg up, or had a leg up going into this, because you knew how to collaborate both worlds. And so I want you to talk a little bit about a linear path, because I feel like creatives, when they look for what they want, and it's not a linear path, and they're ending up working at a gym. Like me, I worked at a gym, I did all types of stuff. and just to end up where I wanted to go. Can you talk a little bit about how everything along the way in the journey, all the skills that you pick up will assist you in what is eventually your purpose or your passion? Because I know some people get discouraged because they don't go straight to what they think they want.
I would start with parents. My mother had me, and I'm saying with a smile and a laugh. I love my mother. She passed away, but I love her. She almost had me convinced that I was crazy because, as an artist, you tend to be hungry. You're ready to try these different experiences because being an artist is almost like being a scientist. You put things to the test and you want to see if this fits with this, and can I do this, and can I take this? I used to take like the curtains and start making outfits. I would grab people's blankets and I'm like, this looks like a jacket to me. And I would do that. Then I did the dance. I did, musical instruments and so on and so forth. So she had me thinking, why can't you be still? Just pick that one thing. And that's from a parent's point of view. And as a parent, we do kind of need to guide our children just in case they are crazy. But as the creative, I inherently, instinctively knew, even at a young age, what that discipline was going to teach me. And see, I went to I went to the High School of Art and Design, which I have mentioned. And there you had all of your academic classes, but they still made you, even in high school, it was almost as though we were in college. We had to take photography. We had to take illustration. You have to take these classes because there are basic foundational principles, tools, techniques, and terminology with every discipline. And in order for you to be well-rounded and know what you're talking about and know how to find what you don't know, right? You have to have these broad experiences. And through all that, you find two or three things that you like to do. There's still three things that I like to do, and that's me. So it's not going to be a straight path. I think that life would be awfully boring if it were. At times, I do wish I were like all of my friends and even my son, who can pick a job and stay with it for 30 years. God bless you, people. Could
I
never
know.
do it. But
Trust
a
me, I get you.
relationship, not a job. There are things that I can't do it. There are things that
Not the relationship. You skip right by that. I'm gonna let that go.
said, you got a good 2 years with me, and that's going to be about it. And that's just me because there are things that I need to know and understand and be able to put together and be able to explain and then take it apart and create something else with it. And after I figured out my window with everything is 2 years, other than my child. In 2 years, I'm going to get what I need to get. And then I have to take all of that, apply it to the next thing while I'm learning that thing. And if I had not, dear God, if I had not done things the way that I did them, I could not do what I'm doing now. There's no way.
So then, where does fear become a factor in all this? Because you're just quitting up your job, you're doing all this. You're a mother, you have a child. Health insurance matters. All these things are elements that cause people to stop in their tracks when they're moving into entrepreneurship because people like stability. And even though they want to chase these dreams, it's scary, so they don't. So
You
what's
have
the
really great questions.
thank you.
The honest one thing about, and I'm glad you said that from the beginning, I'm pretty much an open book. I'm going to be honest and I'll tell the truth. One of the major reasons why I was able to walk around fearless, I'm not fearless, I do have fears, but how I was able to maneuver that were for thanks to three people: my mother, my father, and my ex-husband. And my ex-husband and I are still really great friends. In fact, he was over yesterday. He gave me a hug and money to go to lunch for my birthday. We cool like that. But and he paid child support. So having that child support, come in along with me not having much of a salary allowed me to do what I wanted to do. Both of my parents, my father, they would sit there and go, here she go again. And I'm like, no, but see, this idea is really going to work and blah, 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 blah. Right. And then there were the lawsuits. And then when I was working in education as a school director, I made a really good salary. So you do put money away. I didn't need to buy that much because I made my own clothes and everything else, and I do my own hair and I don't
Wow.
have nails. So the savings was there. My son doesn't really eat much and he's cheap as hell. He doesn't like to go clothing shopping. So I was like, good, then you pay these bills. So I've just been fortunate, really blessed, really, really blessed to have the family that said, we know you're crazy.
Mm,
And I use that word loosely. Obviously, I'm not crazy. We
right.
know that you have these visions and these dreams. So
Mm.
we don't necessarily agree, but we're going to go ahead and support you.
And that's important to have a tribe and a village that even when they don't see your vision, they're willing to support you blindly
Yes.
because
And
they
that's
believe in you and you believe in the vision. So they're saying,
that's
"Will
it.
you'll lead us." So you said everything has about a 2 year mark. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this film festival that I just attended it's been more than 2 years.
This is my love. And that's why I say,
Okay.
and that's why I've never been able to stay any place long because it wasn't the place for me to stay. It was the place
Mm.
for me to learn, to experiment, to do things right, to do a lot of things wrong. Dear God, I make a lot of mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes. And I'm one of the few people that will sit there and tell you, I screwed up. Okay. And I'm very quick to apologize. But
Give us some of your screw ups as an entrepreneur, as a businesswoman, as young people who may be going into following footsteps that you have. What type of screw ups did you learn from? Like, what was the biggest lesson learned in situations like that?
okay. The earliest, and this is going back 30 years, when I had the video store, and back then videos were like $1.50 to rent, and the late fee was $1.50. And because, and society is still that way, sometimes it's very difficult for other people, black, white, male, and female, to accept the fact that a young black woman owns a brick and mortar business.
Mm.
And then I worked in the city. So I would come from work, and I'm in the suit and the 3-inch heels and everything else. Hi, how are you? May I help you? You have a late fee. Would you give me the late fee money? Well, I don't owe you this and I don't owe you that. And one day I know I was so tired and the other side of me came out and it's like, look at here, let me tell you something. I got
Not the nose. Not
Yes,
the nose.
I was on Merritt Boulevard and 110th, and I took my heels off, and I'm standing behind the counter barefoot, hand on my hip, and I'm like, let me tell you something right now. You can pay me my money, and you don't ever have to come back again, right? As a business, as a business owner, that was the totally wrong thing to do. No matter how I was feeling inside, because how can you go around telling your customers not to come back? Because what they're going to do is go, don't go to that crazy lady over there, blah blah blah. At the time, I had to do that, and fortunately, it worked. What I am seeing now, 30 years forward, is that same behavior, and it's not pretty and it's not
Mm.
cute. I had a situation with a vendor from this film festival, and she's coming at me, and I'm trying to, in emails, nicely explain to her, I hear you. I completely understand how you feel. You lost money. Imagine how much I lost, blah, blah. We're going back and forth. And everyone's talking about you, and everyone knows your name. And blah. I said, sister girl, all of that's not necessary. We're
Mm.
business women, we're black women. Do we have to bash each other? And she's going on. I finally had to block her. I'm spending my time like that. I am not.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So this is this like one of the because I did read something like that, like it's like the first of its kind for Queens, this underground film festival. So did you kind of make history?
I say we did. Now, mind you, that we do have, we do. There are two black run by males film festivals, in Southeast Queens. And there is a Latino one in Forest Hills, and there's a Caucasian one in Astoria. The difference with us is that we call it the Black History, Film Festival. It is red carpet, it is international, and we take movies, music, dance, poetry, videos, web series episodes, and talk show episodes. So
Oh,
for
I gotta
those
put mine
reasons,
in.
I am claiming. And then we have live performances and we give out community awards and we have the vendors so that this way the guests can meet some of the local business owners. Because I used to do pop up shops and all that stuff too.
Right.
So for all of those, when you put that combination together, yes, we are the first.
Okay, man. Well, congratulations to you. So, what is first of all, how are the films? Because I wonder that how are they picked, selected, chosen to be in your film festival, and how do you determine winners? I know every category is different, so I'm just gonna ask about the documentaries because that's what I went to see.
Okay, well, films come in again from all over the world. And even this film festival, we had films from Iran, from Italy, from France, from literally from Africa. And I did an interview with Colors, who was there
Yes.
also. And as I explained to her, the fact of the matter is, because I am an artist and because I, run businesses and I'm a parent and I'm a woman and all of that, I don't like rejecting anything. We
Okay.
accept 99.5 of the submissions. So pretty
Okay.
much, and you guys don't tell anybody, but pretty much if you submit, we're going to officially select it. And that's just based on the fact that someone took their money, their time, and a whole bunch of other people. Because for that filmmaker, all of those people who participated believed in that filmmaker. And our
Right.
independent filmmakers are self funding their projects. They're not
Right.
being given money. So someone, similar to me in a different discipline took all of their money, everybody else's money, and time and said, "Hey guys, let's make a show." So for that reason, we accepted. And we usually have a jury, and they everyone watches the movies separately, and
Okay.
then not this year, but no, typically what happens is then we all get together and watch them again. And then everyone sits there and debates and just says this one should win based, so on and so forth. But all of the judges are in the profession. So you have
Okay.
photographers, you have some cinematographers, you have filmmakers, you have writers, things like that. And it's a small group, but it's fun when we're sitting there going, no, 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 you wrong. This one is better. What happened this season, and this is about the second time it happened. They're
Okay.
like for the music videos. We kept coming up with the same two music videos to win. There was no way to break the tie. And because it's our film festival, it
Mm-hmm.
only made sense to have two winners.
Okay.
That's important because when you see things that are, they're different, but in terms of all the criteria, they're
Mm-hmm.
equal and they're both really good. I couldn't, in my heart, sit there and pick one to go one's better than the other. Not when I know that they're both, really strong music videos.
So, with everything that's gone on in the past few years, there was definitely everyone was affected with the film festival that requires crowds, that requires people to, you know, gather together. How did the pandemic affect you? What was the biggest lesson that you learned out of the pandemic? Or was everything business as usual? You didn't have any issues?
Not really. Again, being creative. So the first one when the pandemic was, it was really scary. We had a small group and we went virtual from my living room and we ordered pizza and everything else and people tuned in and we all watched. Now it didn't come out right. You want to talk about mistakes? That was our first one. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. And there was a senator on with us, and thank God for him. This man was so sweet. And it's like, don't worry about it. It's okay. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God. Um, then the year after that, remember I said I do a lot of gardening.
Yes.
Okay, we had it in my yard.
Okay.
Backyard, we set up tents in the backyard and in the driveway. We had vendors here and we had patio tables in the front of the house. So we did a 3-day film festival in my yard.
How are you funding all of this? You're doing all this out of pocket?
Yes, we did get a grant for movie nights last year. For the film festival, oh no, for the film festival this year, how we got the commercial on TV
Yeah. Okay.
was
You were on Channel 11 News?
um
With Channel.
no, that was last year, but this year
Okay.
my commercial, I created a commercial and it was on BET, OWN, and VH1 in New York, Long Island, and New Jersey. And
Okay.
that came through a grant from the Queensborough President's Office and the Tourism Foundation. So thank you guys very much because the commercial was on for a whole month.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you got that because funding such a large event annually, I can imagine that has to be a struggle for you emotionally, mentally draining. So I want to ask you really quick because you mentioned about God. How do you handle your mental health with dealing with all these things? I'm being serious.
No,
Anybody
I'm
who's
laughing because my
listening, who's an entrepreneur, who's trying to do their own business, who's a creative, they understand the concept of burnout. They understand the concept of the discouragement and not knowing how to get back and living a different life than other people, so people don't relate. And so you feel like in this alone space when it comes to those type of issues. So how do you deal with mental health?
honestly, I have a good sense of humor that annoys quite a few people because I grew up with a bunch of guys. So I can
Okay.
be very sarcastic.
Okay.
Um, and I'm laughing because growing up, I think my grandmother was trying to get my parents to put me on punishment for
Okay.
whatever reason, and I may have done something, but honestly, I doubt it. Um, and, and my father came in and he's like, "Why are you staring at a blank TV?" I said, "Because I can't turn the TV on because I'm on punishment." So he's like, "Right."
Right.
So he took me, over to my all my uncles' houses. But while we were going, he said, "I want you to know something." I said, "What?" He said, "It's not your fault." That's it. Now, I took that one little sentence. I'm telling you what I did consciously. I took that one little sentence, and from the age 9, that little sentence has carried me through life. So when things get to be too much, I sit back and I hear my father's voice going, "It's not your fault." Even if it is my fault, in the scheme of things, right? Because you think about it, in the scheme of things, we're all placed in families and neighborhoods and situations that we did not initially put ourselves there, right? Then you have
Okay.
Mother Nature, you have God, you have other people and their craziness. So you are surrounded by a lot of other stuff. Is that your fault? No. What is your fault is if you stay in that situation and you don't get out of it. Now that's your fault. So when you start out and things are like, because yeah, the film festivals, it becomes very overwhelming. And I will stop. I will turn everything off, not respond to anyone for a while, and I will just sit there and get very quiet and go back within. Because as long as I'm centered, I can get everything accomplished and I can hold everyone up. But then you have those people that want to call and throw stuff and why did this, and it's like, let me get back to you. And that's why I really don't like talking on the phone. I will write you a 10-page email. But those, yeah, oh yeah, child, I was in school for a long time.
Oh yeah, you writing grants and
I
stuff.
can
You like to
I
write,
can
yeah.
and it doesn't take any energy out of me. But a lot of people do drain your energy, whether they
Right.
realize it or not. So working from home has alleviated a lot of difficulties and challenges because I'm not around other people all of the time. I'm not rushing to work. I'm not on the trains, or the buses. So that has helped substantially. The most important thing is that I'm doing what I love. When I was at jobs I didn't particularly care for or working with and for people that I wasn't thrilled about, that was draining. When you're doing what you love, you're not going to wake up and every day is, apple pie and ice cream. There are many challenges, but I also know my own background and I know I can figure it out. And I also know if I can't figure it out, I know who to call or I know what to look for on Google. So it's
Right.
never that feeling of being alone or without resources. The SBA, the SBS score, these folks have to listen to you. Your friends don't, a stranger doesn't.
Right.
But these are, organizations, and I belong to two different chamber of commerces, right? I have a lot of friends who are business owners. Before I spoke to you, a friend of mine who's a publisher is calling to ask me for advice.
Mm.
Okay. So you have to know where your resources are. It cannot be your friends. And someone posted this on Facebook. Why do people ask their friends who've never had a business how to run their business?
Right.
Hello? Go to people who know more than you.
Go to people who know more than you. The recurrent theme in your conversation has continually been, it's not just about what you do and what you want to do, it's about who you're surrounded by. And people might take that for granted because you're feeling like this is your vision, this is what you're doing, so you're doing the work. You're not worried about who's around you, but those people will pour into you. Those people will be different type of resources for you. So it's important when you're going on your journey, just in life, that you have the right people around you. That's friends, that's family, that's lovers. All of them need to be vetted annually and
Yes,
see what they are, what are they pouring into your life in this season.
and
That's
then vice
important.
versa. And that because a lot of people just take. It's, people will call me and they go, well, I have this idea, let me run it by you, because everybody knows I'm good with coming up with crazy ideas,
Hmm.
right? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. And what about this and what about that? But it has to be reciprocal. And I think too many, relationships are one-sided. Just like with you. I sent you a text earlier, right? And I said, I am sending people to interview your way because
Hmm.
there's something about you I truly take to. I have no problem. Now I'm getting chills now. I have no problem recommending you. So I've been recommending you all day. Forget the fact that I'm on your show. I'm like, y'all
Right.
need to follow her
Oh, I
and
appreciate
request an
that.
interview because you're the real deal. So that's
Thank you.
what it is. Like recognizes like, game knows game, and sincerity knows
Talk that
sincerity.
Queens talk from
But
Brooklyn to
but
Queens.
that's what it is, and that's what having all of these experiences through life, that this is what it nets us. You need to be
Yeah.
able to be at a place where you can trust your own instincts. We don't
Mhm.
have 10 years to figure out, well, Lisa, who really, she said, I ain't got time like that. I have been through enough in this life to be able within 15, 20 minutes to see what's real and what's not. Not that I'm infallible, I'm not always right,
Right.
but pretty much most of the time, God gave women different sets of instincts.
That's how most millionaires and billionaires be moving. They say you got 5 minutes. Sell me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they
Yeah,
make their decisions really quick.
that's it.
So you're a double minority. You're a black and you're a woman. And then you
And I'm
had,
left-handed. Hold on.
oh, and you
Left-handed.
left-handed. Okay.
Left-handed
Shout
women
out to all the left-handed people in the building.
left-handed women. They're only 12% of the world left-handed. And out of that 12%, 0.05 are women.
My
That's
mother is left-handed. My mom is left-handed. Shout out to my mom and whoever else is
yep,
left-handed in the mid in
exactly.
the building. So okay, and then on top of that, you came into the film industry or doing the film festivals because, as you said, a friend suggested it. So what, like, how was that process of making that transition as a all those things stacked against you? What did you experience that were hardships and trials breaking into something that some people might just say, what are you doing here?
That was the easiest transition ever because when I had the art studio on Linden Boulevard from 2016, as I mentioned to you, we had
Hmm.
nights of hip hop, we had jazz, we had the poetry, we had movie nights, we had art classes. I rented the space to other people, all of
Okay.
that. So when I started the film festival, it was an easy segue because I already knew a bunch of people, which is why it took music videos, poetry
Got it.
videos, and live performances because I knew I could bring that crowd. So that was a
Okay.
very easy segue. And the friend who suggested, she's still mad at me to this day because honestly, because she suggested it and her next sentence was, I don't know how to help you. And
Okay.
she didn't, and that's fine because that was honest. So I did all of the research. I had to sit up there and make all the mistakes and figure it out and find a venue and figure out how to get films and how do I put this together. So I own it, mistakes and all, because someone, and this is what I want people to understand, someone can give you an idea, you have to do the work. Now later on, that person's going to say, "Well, I gave them." Yeah, people mention ideas to other people all day long. I give people ideas all day long. Do they listen? I don't know. Do they? I don't know. But whoever takes on the idea has the responsibility for doing all of that work.
That's a fact. So you doing all the work because you love it. Do you think that this is your passion, your purpose, or is there a difference for you?
No, this is it. And I'm just now figuring out, not figuring out, before the pandemic hit, we were actually going to go on a streaming platform because it's sitting here and going, okay, so I love what I'm doing, and what I'm doing is helping other people, right?
Hmm.
Is this enough? Nah. What is our next step, as a nonprofit or a business? What is our next step? Logically, filmmakers are looking for distribution. Great. They spend
Hmm.
all of this money, they put it in the film festival, they put it in 100 film festivals, they get all of these laurels on their posters. But now what? How does that get them back the money that they put in? So the next
Mm.
logical step is distribution. So that's what we're looking into, and I'm in talks with 4 different companies to be able to help the filmmakers have distribution.
That is amazing. You are the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, some mother used to say, yeah, yeah, a couple of credit cards later. Sure thing. I keep
So
giving.
she said a couple of credit cards. So what else are you like? What is your mission? Like, what is your goal? Like, when you took this on and you saying this is your baby, what is the mission statement? What is the goal? And what is the next step to continue? And like you saying this, is there anything else that you have in the works? I know you don't just want to throw out all your ideas, but things you have in the works. That's a two-part question. The mission and the goal for you with this, and then what other things are you doing to try to reach that goal and mission?
Well, the mission and the vision is, I think the great thing about being a new business and working with people who are new to the industry, because a lot of our filmmakers, oh my God, I got this beautiful phone call. This woman, this was her first film festival, and her first win.
Wow.
Yeah, she actually called on the phone. So, we're all growing together. The film festival is growing along with the filmmakers. And one thing I want to touch on, is that when we do events, we have people who will start following us.
Hmm.
And then after the event is over, they stop following us. And I don't understand, because whatever filmmakers, we follow or we're friends with, I stay with people. In fact, at the film festival, a couple of the filmmakers, this is their 5th season with us. I don't drop people, and I wish that the filmmakers and guests wouldn't drop us. Um,
So as a little life, because all these conversations is part of life stuff. People have a tendency, once they don't find you of use, or they feel like that, okay,
the
I
event
did
is
that and
over.
I'm not, it's over, you're no longer useful to me. And so one of the big things that I feel like young people, um my bracket, or entrepreneurs are growing up, do not understand. And anybody that I listen to that is a millionaire or whatever, they always emphasize the power of relationship.
Yes.
And young people don't know how power of relationship helps. I have a pastor who, you know with my relationship through him, connects me through so many people. And he always says, I don't understand why people don't use me, I'm right here. While I'm here, and I'm like, but when you have the vision to recognize that when people are giving you an opportunity to learn and grow from them, you create those relationships. And I think our generation don't really get that. So it's kind of like the instant gratification. If I didn't win, then you're purposeless. If it didn't look how I wanted to, then it's purposeless, you know?
Yeah, and it's sad because, and I think that's why I smile and laugh a lot. I tell myself, a lot of funny stories and funny jokes, because here it goes. So, say for instance, you don't keep following us, and not only am I able to get major distribution, I wake up tomorrow and go, you know what? We're going to be our own streaming platform, because this happens all the time. Not exactly like this scenario, but
Right.
in life it happens all the time. People have treated me bad or ignored me, and then they've seen what we've been able to do, and then I get the email, the phone call. Oh, I was just thinking about, yeah, you saw my, I'm not going to curse, you saw it on TV or whatever else. So they will try to swing back around. And I'm always cordial. I am always cordial and professional, because I learned 30 years ago not to do that anymore. but it doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to want to do business with you again because I don't want you to drop me. See, when I'm in a personal relationship for 2 years, that guy kind of knows it. I am not playing games with you. You know what I mean? When I worked for people, they could have looked at my resume and saw 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. So I'm not walking in the door pretending and blowing smoke up. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not
Yeah.
doing that. So when people treat me that way professionally, I sit there and crack up and go, but it didn't have to be like that. You ride with people because in business and in life there's ups and downs. So the film festival, we did not have the turnout, and largely due to it being spring break, whereas when we were there last time, it was 450 people.
Mm.
Okay. When we're there next time, I'm going to pick a better date. I'm assuming it's going to be that way again. And a couple of people are going to call and ask, well, can I do this? Can I come in free? Can I do? And I'm going to politely go, no, thank you.
Mm.
Because
Don't burn your bridges.
that would be the shorter version. Don't, because you really,
Especially in this
really never know.
industry.
In any industry, you
Yeah.
never, yeah, when I was working in education, there's some stories I could tell you. You don't. And two is to pay attention to, even if you're angry, how you treat others and how you behave out in the street. Because when I tell you, you never know who's watching you. I know a couple of people who have lost some good jobs and good opportunities because how they were behaving out in the street and they didn't know, someone saw them.
I that's a word right there. Somebody's always watching. Somebody is always watching. Please know that, people.
That's for real.
So, what is next for you? What else do you have in the works coming up? What can we expect to see? Things like that.
Can your audience keep a secret? I need to know that.
Um, can
I'm
y'all
only
keep a secret? Can y'all keep a
everyone
secret?
does say yes. Actually, the dream in it, and before COVID hit, I had written down, the business plan of all of the things we wanted to do because there's an advantage to being a mobile film festival because we move around. So technically, we can move around anywhere. So I
Oh,
have some
okay.
things on the books of where we're going to. We'll have the film festival at the regular scheduled time, but after that, then we can start taking it to other places. The dream next year is to have the red carpet and the awards live. That's going to take another set of money. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm hoping, to have sponsors to do. But I would like for it to look like the Academy Awards or the Oscars. I think we, as minorities, all brown skinned people, deserve to have that. And as you saw, we do red carpet, and I look pretty cool in a gown. So I
You
think
do.
that
You
we need
do.
to have that all brown version for ourselves.
I know that's right. Representation matters.
It does. It does. And that's what the kids need to, the younger people need to see because if you're only seeing, the drug dealers and listening to the rap music, killer this and do this, that's what stays in your head. I'd like to be a part of, that very large group that wants to keep holding us up because we've lost Cicely Tyson. We just lost
Harry Belafonte.
Jay.
R.I.P. Harry Belafonte,
Maya
man.
Angelou. So many of our
Yeah.
icons that came with class and elegance and held us up and said, no, the light is this way. We have lost them. So who is the younger generation, looking up to? Who is there on the side to be that balance? Because you're always
Right.
going to have this other noise. That's fine. That has its place. But you have to have somebody else to the side that you go, okay, but see that is, how it can look.
So, what would you say to the up and coming film directors, the up and coming creatives, the up and coming young entrepreneurs, the up and coming young Black women who are going to be in boardrooms that everyone look like they don't belong here? What do you have to say for those people?
Self
To those people?
self-educate. Not everyone is meant to go to school, to college. I don't dispute that. I just happen to like sitting in the classroom and challenging myself. That's me personally. My parents did not go to college, neither one of them, and they were two of the most brightest, smartest, most well-read people on the planet. That's number one. Two, we discuss. know that there's probably somebody watching you at all times. And you don't take it on like this big weight, take it on like a privilege. You are black or brown, or you're a black and brown woman. And on Facebook, there was a whole big thing. Oh, why we got to carry that weight? It is an honor. It is an honor. It is not a weight. The fact that other groups of people get to meet you and judge the entire race based on you, man, what an honor. And you need to hold your head high and let them walk away going, yeah, I like black people now. That was a nice one. And I
I'm
know
gonna
that's
tell you.
but this is the reality.
I hear you, Miss Adrienne, but that's another topic for another day. Because I'm not gonna say I agree to disagree, but there's nuances to that.
No, I understand. My generation, I've had jobs. My first job at Citibank, I was the only black person on that floor besides the
Mm,
janitor. So I come, child, it was me and him. Okay. I've
mm,
always been put in situations where I knew I was representing our group. And it doesn't mean you can't be you, but
yes.
you have to know where you've come from, where your history from slavery till now. And now we get to do whatever we want to do. It is not just, wild and open, just to be able to be wild just for the sake of being wild.
Hmm.
There's still a responsibility that goes with it. You represent your parents, also, you represent your children. My son is very conservative. I can't even wear a t shirt with skinny straps.
Oh, stop
I
it.
no, I'm sorry, I cannot walk outside like that. And I think it's the most adorable thing because he's like, "You're my mother." Just like my father, you're my daughter. We belong, here's the thing. We belong to other people whether we want to admit it or not.
Okay, see, you try to bait me into another conversation that I'm not trying to have because I was just talking to somebody about that concept, especially in the black community. See, this is not even part of the conversation, but sometimes in the black community, because we are living with trauma from like slavery and stuff like that, we behave a lot of the time also with parent and children like a slave master and slave mentality. Like you can't talk. You if you look the wrong way, you get slapped. You belong to me. You always act like a child no matter how old you are. You're disrespecting me if you speak. And that sometimes concerns me because we don't see that. But like I said,
No, but
that's
I agree. But I hear you. I'm not going to that level. I'm just
oh,
saying
okay, okay.
I'm not going there.
Okay.
Childhood trauma. We could talk about that a whole nother conversation. Oh yes, we can talk about on another time. But
Yeah.
what I mean is when you're walking out the street or you're in a job place, this is life,
Oh,
reality.
you represent someone.
You do. You
Yeah.
represent your parents, you represent your child, you represent your best friend, and yes, you get to represent your culture to
You
the
right.
extent that it is an honor. I
You
am
right.
not saying that it comes with restrictions that you don't get to speak or be yourself because I've always found a way to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to that place.
Mm-hmm.
Because that we do, and I love the fact that there's a freedom that exists now that didn't when I grew up.
Mm.
Even your neighbors could go, see, I'm going to tell your mama you did such and such. And they would call. They would call. Right. So I love the fact, if I was growing up now, I'd have the blue hair, on one side and the piercing and all of that. There is a freedom now, but it is to recognize the fact that that freedom came with other people's sacrifice.
Mm.
You don't get to disrespect that. Somebody had to bend down and do some stuff they didn't want to do
Mm.
to for you to be able to walk around like that. Respect that. Don't come across like you did it all on your own. You did
Mm.
not. You
Oh,
man, what? My family comes from the South. You did not.
all right. I like that. I like that. You right. The ancestors are always watching, and we owe it to the ancestors to do right out here. I got you on that. So with that, you made the comment about, if you had the blue hair and stuff like that. So I want to know, what would you tell your younger self?
Oh my God, I would go, you know how you didn't want to listen to a lot of people? Listen to even less. Yeah, it was
Didn't expect
having.
you to say that.
It would be because as a child, you know stuff, right? I knew I was right about certain things, but I didn't have the language or the age or the experience to express it. I knew I was right to want to try different things. I knew I was right to want to pursue a career in arts. And I told you what my guidance counselor told me, don't,
Oh no,
So,
no. Share really quick what your guidance counselor told you, because I know, but they don't know.
okay, so in high school, when you're getting ready to pick, that's the only time you ever see your guy. That's the only time I ever saw my guidance counselor was when it was time to, pick a college. And they call you into the office, and he closed the door and he said, "Listen, you are black and you are a woman. If I were you, I forget about a career in the arts." And then I went home and I told my mother, and she went. My major was package design. So she went through the yellow pages and she found a black package designer in Manhattan, Mr. Pace, and she called him up and she made an appointment thinking he was going to go, "No, you're fine, you could do it." That man looked at me, you know what he said? "You are black and you are a woman. If I were you, I forget about a career in the arts."
So the white man told you and the black man told you. And sometimes it's like that. Nobody is on your side. And you gotta try to and you gotta decide if you do believe in yourself enough to do it anyway. Wow.
Yes. However, it is upside because I could have just went to college, majored in art, and came out and really not found a job. But instead, I went to college, I majored in business, came out, still couldn't find a job, but I worked temp. And through working temp, I work with most of the major, corporations in Midtown
Hmm.
until I found a permanent job. So having been a secretary for those first 20 years is where a lot of my skills came from. That's where my professional upbringing and grooming came from, and I thank God for that, because again, artists get a bad reputation because we don't come with the certain professional skills and the finesse and knowing how to sit at the table and then understand the way money should go. It should,
Right.
theoretically go. And then if you want to open up a business, then you need that. If you want to do the marketing, then you need that.
Yeah.
All of those things. If you want to go to do something else, then what in your past has prepared you to do that other thing? So because I had to go a different route, it wasn't linear, right?
Right.
All of those skills came with it.
That is dope. That is so dope. And I hope that anyone listening, whether you're creative or you're not, or even in regular life, coming into motherhood, and because even with life, people don't do things in a certain order they expected, and they find a disappointment within that. And just remember that this path is your own to create. It doesn't have to look like what you think society wants it to look like. It's about what is best for you, and you find a way to make it work for you, like our dear Miss Adrienne Whaley did. And I am so grateful that I met you, and I
Me
thank you for
too.
taking this time. Let the people know where they can find you,
I
and
forgot
all of
all
that
about
good
that,
stuff.
right?
Yeah.
Just contact Lisa. On Instagram, we're Queens Underground Film Fest. And actually on Facebook, we are Queens Underground Film, but I don't use that page. Is Adrienne
Oh,
Whaley 58 is the
got it.
Facebook page, my personal page. But again, my last piece of advice would be, if you don't know it, go learn it. Go, because you cannot rely on other people to give you all of the information. Self educate. Google makes it real easy now. So does YouTube. There's no excuse. People, well, I didn't know, because you didn't do any research.
And self-educate, we talking in more than one ways, because even when we look at our school system, like when you were talking about all the creative arts that you had to do, the photography, they've taken creative arts outside the school. They're not teaching us our history. Everything that we need to create solid foundations, they are slowly stripping it from us. So self-education is an important tool no matter what aspect of life
Absolutely.
we are living in, ladies and gentlemen.
For real. For real. For real.
So I want to thank you again for coming on. I want to thank everyone that tuned in to join me on this amazing interview. And I'm so excited. I'm definitely can't wait to see what you pull off with this next film festival.
Oh, the
And
next one is October. It's the Halloween Film Festival and Costume Ball. We do
oh,
that every
well,
year.
let the people know. Somebody might want to go to the costume ball. You
Or
should.
submit a film. So it's my email is queensunderground718 at gmail.
Okay. And it's a costume ball. People come
Yes.
in.
Yes.
Wow.
For adults only. We do not do children.
I know that's right.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Everyone came dressed up. It was amazing. And we watch all kinds of movies. It's not just horror movies.
Oh, okay then. I might have to go check that out. I don't really do Halloween though.
No, you're going to do the red carpet. We just didn't discuss it yet.
Well, alrighty then. Well, we'll chat offline and
Yes,
do what we
ma'am.
need to
Yes,
do.
ma'am.
But ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in for another episode of Spirit of a Woman. And I hope that you all embrace the spirit of your woman or your man if you're watching, and you go after your goals. You live your journey in the way that you find is best for you. Remember to self-educate. Remember to listen to people less when necessary. And always, always remember, you've only failed when you stop. All right? So with that being said, y'all know what I gotta do. I gotta hit y'all with my intro, outro, and I'll be out. Till the next time and in between time, be safe, y'all. Have a good
Thank
one.
you guys so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sexy. Life. Creation. Welcome to the Spirit of a Woman soundtrack. Ladies, grab your wine. Check yourself. Look back. Right. You got it. 'Cause here, this is where